Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Sparkle. This is going to be a 1 hour class to open up the hips. So we're going to slowly and gracefully ease our way into all the major muscles that cross the hip joint. And by the end of this class, you're going to feel like you have lungs in your hips. You're going to get a whole new breath into your hips. So thanks so much for joining me. Let's get started. So you can extend your legs forward, draw the knees in, and then place your feet as wide as the mat. You can take your arms overhead, kind of reaching off the back edge of the mat, and just let your knees fall to the right. As you welcome yourself to this part of the day, take a deep breath, inflating the place where you're meeting the ground. So you're sort of expanding that print on your mat from your back as you breathe in. You can do an open mouth exhale if that feels like the right thing to do. Like I'm doing, take the knees up and over to the left. So as you breathe into the left side of your back and maybe your hips, circulate a feeling of trust, trusting yourself to take care and to respect your limits, and also know when to nudge yourself out of your comfort zone. So it's really a daily art of knowing which way to do, and you know best. Inhale, take the knees back up, take the left leg up to the sky, and then you can interlace your hands behind the left hamstring, the calf. I'm going to jump up to the foot, so if you can reach your big toe, you can do that here. So first, bend the left knee and press the back of the left hip into the ground. So you're making a butt print on your left side. And then once you have that, stretch your right leg forward, going all the way out. And then keep your right leg really close to the ground. Bend your left knee more, bringing it towards the outside of the left ribs. You can take your right arm all the way overhead, reaching off the back edge of the mat. Circulate that same feeling of trust. So we have to know how everything is connected too. So it's not, of course, it's not just about your hips. We acknowledge the hip-jaw connection, hip-neck and shoulder tension connection. Really, your body is just waves of and patterns of tension, patterns of habitual tension in the body that we're unwinding. So it's really, every class is your full body because it's all connected. Reach your left leg up to the sky, and then we're going to take the left leg all the way over into a twist. You can start with your knee bent. I'm going to extend my top leg and just lean my top leg all the way over to the right. Press the outside edge of the right foot into the ground. Lift your hips up and move your right hip back in space. From there, inhale, reach your left arm overhead, extending off the back edge of the mat. Now see if you can settle your left hip more forward. So it's kind of like you want to passively move your left hip towards the front edge of the mat. And that's going to lengthen the left side. So you can encourage that by breathing up through the left waist, left ribs, all the way up to the fingertips. Spin your thumb to the ground and then keep spinning until the palm faces down. So your palm is pressing, and then slide it off the back of the mat even a little bit more. Inhale, let's unwind. So expanding out of the pose. Bring the left knee into the chest. Left hand to the outside of the left knee. Just take the knee out to the left as much as you can. And then from there, move to the outer knee so that you can extend your left leg all the way out. So it's like you're putting a nice big footprint right on the left wall, whatever that is to you. Or maybe you're imagining a wall here. Press a big footprint into it, like there's paint on your foot and you're just stamping your foot. Making a nice print. Inhale, take it up. Left leg to the sky. Let's interlace both hands behind the left hamstring. Again, press down with the left hip and move the left hip slightly forward. And stretch up from the anchored left hip on the mat up through the heel. And exhale, you can let it go. We're going to start with the left knee bent, so the right leg comes in first. We do this first pose. First, you choose your adventure on the right leg, so you can interlace your hands at the hamstring, the back of the leg, at the calf. You can go up to the foot. Plug your right hip into the mat, so it's downward rooting into the earth first. And then inhale with that, stretch the left leg forward, all the way out. Bend the right knee. So we bend it from a place of keeping the extended leg or your left leg anchored. So the left leg grounds first, and then the right knee just sort of passively releases to the outside of the right ribs. You can take your left arm all the way overhead. Just keep the left leg pressing into the earth. Notice which place fills up more easily or more habitually, whether it's the belly or the chest. And so with that observation, we're just going to do both. Whatever is your missing piece, breathe into that. Inhale, take the right leg up to the sky. Take the left hand to the outside of the right knee, and then you're going to track the leg all the way across. Press the outside edge of the left foot into the ground. Lift the hips. Move the left hip back. It's kind of like you're peeling your bottom hip back so that the front of the pelvis more faces the earth. And from there, reach your right arm overhead. So since our focus is on the hips, right here you can think about directing your breath from the back of the pelvis, from the low back area around this top hip, down through the leg, but also away from the heart. So you're reaching the right hip forward as you reach the right arm back in space, creating a nice long stretching sensation at the right side. On an inhale, unwind out of the twist. Let's take the leg up to the sky. And then hang on to the outside of the knee, bend the knee. Open your right knee all the way to the right, whatever that means for you. And I'd like to do this without any tension on the leg, so we're purposefully holding on to the back of the knee and then stretch through the leg. So that just keeps us away from expecting the leg to fully extend. It doesn't need to. So even if your knee is a little bit bent, just see if you can take your right leg more towards your face. And maybe with the left hip rooted to the ground, the right leg can go a little bit more towards the earth. You'll have to really listen to your hip joint. From an even place, right and left hip both evenly weighted on the earth, stretch through both heels. Ay, ay, ay. Bring it back up. Both knees into the chest. Feet together. Interlace the hands around the outside edges of the feet. And first, stretch through the tailbone. So we're lengthening through the tail, bringing the base of the tailbone more towards the earth. And then open the thighs away from your torso. Until you get to a place. Now really all the poses we want to set up like this, but there's a sweet spot. I like to call it the breath response. I also like to call it chasing the deep breath feeling. So whatever words you want to choose, it's when you go in and then without even knowing or without consciously, you're breathing more deeply. So see if you can create that right here. Take one foot into each hand and we'll go happy baby. So you just open your feet away from each other. So the soles of the feet are facing up towards the sky. And then expand, really breathe into your low belly. And from that low waist, breathe all the way up into the top of the chest. And into the side ribs. Separate your feet a little bit past happy baby. So you can think of like you're making a hybrid pose. It's going a little bit more towards a reclined wide leg stretch. And alternate, press out through the ankles, press out away from you through the knees, press out away from you through the outer thighs, the IT band. Chasing that deep breath feeling. And now we're going to go back to the previous pose. So we're using this as a way to kind of get us in, finesse ourselves in a little bit more deeply. So now bring the feet back together. Reach your thighs away from your ribs. Lift through the heart. Now peel your whole low back off the ground. So you're going to reach your tailbone forward until the low back fully lifts, like you're going to make a little tunnel. Exhale. From here you can relax your low back. Place your feet now outer edges of the feet on the front of the mat. So we're in a Supta Baddha Konasana for those of y'all that want to know the names. And then walk the shoulder blades onto the back. Place the hands underneath the thighs, right close to your hip. So you're connected. And then pressing your feet into each other, we're going to do a little baby bridge pose from this. So with the legs in this position, just be playful for a moment. See if you can lift your pelvis off the ground. You're doing a floating pelvis, Baddha Konasana. Rock a little side to side, roll the shoulder blades more onto the back. See if you can interlace your hands underneath the pelvis. Lift up like you're doing a regular bridge pose. So you're peeling the heart up, lifting the hips, pressing the elbows into the ground. Chances are you can probably lift a little higher than you think. So really rise on the inhale and exhale. Draw the knees back into the chest. Take the arms out like wings, out to the sides. We're going to do a stirring motion. So the knees stay together, although they really don't have to if you're wanting to deviate away from this. Your legs can be independent too, but the idea that I love is stirring the legs, and you want to go all the way around so you touch the outer left hip on the ground, the outer right hip on the ground, peeling the tailbone up as the knees sweep over the heart. So it's a pretty big circle. You can extend the legs all the way forward off the front edge of the mat. So you're really awakening the core, your powerful legs. Fluid motion, exploring the range for the hips, the low back. Next time the knees draw in, hug the knees in, crossing the ankles, rock along the length of your spine, coming up to seated. Okay, let's lean onto the outside of the right hip, and we're going to take the left leg back. It's not pigeon, but it's pigeon-ish, I guess. So you'll put your left foot, if you can cross it all the way back so that the back shin is going across the width of the mat. And then we're gonna, the left hip, by the way, is gonna be off the ground. You're mostly gonna be on the outside edge of the front hip. Inhale, lift through the chest. Now those of you that are protecting your knees, or you need a little bit more carefulness, you can bend this right knee really deeply and keep it in close. I've got it pretty open because that's what my hips want. So you do what yours want. Inhale, lift up through the chest. Now we're going to do a little side bend twist. So take your hands forward, and then we're going to go to the right a little at a time. This one gets deep quickly, in my mind. So do what you can. Maybe looking over the right shoulder, see if you can see your right foot all the way back there. Wiggle your toes. Just to see, oh yeah, that's me back there. Now walk your hands a little bit more away from you so they're going out. Lift the right ribs away from the ground and roll your left ribs a little bit more forward and into the twist. We're really wringing out the digestive system, detoxing. Inhale. So this is really, we can think of this as being a deeper experience of the very first pose we did where we just took the legs to the side. So unwind on an inhale, coming back to center, and we're just going to go straight into the second side. So do whatever you need to do. Legs, we're at the back of the mat, and you'll align the back shin across the width of the mat. So you can look back and measure that up. And then the front knee is going to be up to you. You do what is appropriate. Turn your heart now to face the back edge of the mat. So we flex the toes for a few reasons. One, flexing the toes engages the outer shin muscles, which is really nicely supportive for the knees. Inhale, lift up through the chest. And the other reason is awareness. So if we don't flex our toes, our feet and them being connected to us is something that's really easy to just sort of like get away from. So from here, walk your hands to the left and orient yourself so the right and left side of your chest are centered right between the hands. For most of us, you have to lift the left ribs up a little bit and roll the right ribs down and forward. Playfully walk the hands a little bit further away from you. So playfully meaning like an attitude of lightness. So if you go too far and you're like, oh my God, it's no longer fun, then you can walk it back. Inhale, unwind. Let's come all the way back. We're going to go back to the first side. So you can switch yourself back, and now we're going to do it with the front leg straight. So you're going to stretch the front leg all the way out, whatever that is for you, and same position with the back leg. And this is, I like to call this the fake splits pose. So it's sort of like you're dropping into your pageant. You can't really do a split, but this is what you do, and everyone thinks is impressed. Or pretends to be. So turn and frame your front leg. Inhale, lift through the chest. Walk your hands along the line of the front leg. And this, if you're feeling a stretch on the outer hamstring, you're there. That's what we want right now. If you can connect your left hand to the right foot, do that. I'm settling onto my right forearm, so if you can fold into it even more, now's a good chance. Keep awareness in your back leg with the back toes flexed. Inhale, walk it in. All right, we're going to find this on the back leg. So you can bend the front knee, rock all the way back. Set up the back leg in what is that probably for us familiar way by now, and then the left leg is going to extend for the second round of this. So you'll press down through the hands and inhale, lift the hips. And I'm sticking my butt out just a little bit before I go into the pose. So that just sets the foundation. From there, turn the seam that goes from your navel up to the heart in line with the back leg. Flexing the toes. If you don't feel a stretch, and if you don't feel a stretch in the back leg of the pose, just nudge your back knee back a little bit more until you feel it. Inhale, lift through the chest, and then walk slowly along the line of the leg. Maybe get to know that back leg a little bit more, taking the right hand to the back foot, lowering onto the left elbow. If you're in a really forward folded version of this, make sure to breathe into the back of the heart. So you're sort of lifting and rippling and extending the back of the heart towards the back edge of the mat. Inhale, walk your hands in. You can bend your back knee. All right, let's go back to the first side. Now we're going to go into pigeon. So the right knee is set up to however you are practicing it, and the left leg is going back with an inner, kind of like you're corkscrewing the left inner thigh, the back leg up towards the sky. And go ahead and do this with me. Let's all do this. The left hand goes to the outside of the left thigh, and you're going to lift the back knee and turn that inner thigh up towards the sky. Then position your back foot. Maybe take it back a little bit more, and then turn to face forward. Inhale, lifting up through the chest. Keep that corkscrewing feeling in the back leg. It's a spiraling feeling from the inner thigh up towards the sky, and then lift up through the heart. Take your heart a little to the right. Think about how we did the first one where we went off in an angle to the right. Do the same thing here. So you can place your hands and align the heart right between your hands. Inhale. Walk it back to center. So we're not forward folding in this pigeon. We're working into it in other ways. So walk the back knee forward now until your pelvis lifts off the ground. The front foot is going to stay as is. Now lift up, and we're going to go right into the IT outer hamstring area. So the hips are going back. It's kind of like down dog, except this front leg, which is on a IT band stretching adventure. Inhale, lift and stretch through the heart. So you're just sending your breath up the central column of the body. From the low back, rippling through the heart. Exhale, bend your front knee. Now we're going to sweep the right leg, this front leg, all the way up to down dog split. So just unwind it. Take it all the way up. Straight up to the sky. Bend the knee. And then stretch the heart down into the right hand and up through the top hip. So you're getting a lot of space into the right waist. You can reach even longer through the whole top leg, all the way through the tips of the toes, wiggling to stretch longer. And exhale, down dog. Inhale, look forward. Come forward to plank. Exhale, lower down. Roll the shoulders under the back. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, child's pose. Rock a little side to side like a settling, gentle rocking motion. Allowing your forehead to release from temple to temple. Let's do the other side. So press up hands and knees. Take the left leg into pigeon. And we're going to be with the front leg first, back leg first. So coming up through the chest, and then cartwheel your right hand all the way up and over. We're going to work on our spiral of the back leg. So grab the inner thigh, pressing down through the outer edge of the foot, the little toe. Lift your back knee and turn your inner thigh up towards the sky with the help manually with your hand. So the feeling is that you're going to bring the outer knee of the back leg to the ground instead of the inner knee. So do what you can. Then, once you've got that all set up and you can feel a stretch in your back leg, walk the hands to frame the left knee, front leg now. Turn your heart in line with the front leg. Keep awareness in the feet by flexing the toes, both feet. Bend your front knee. If there's any discomfort in the knee, that means you'll bend the front knee more. With the heart turning to the left, you'll walk out on this diagonal. And you can even really be still in the back leg, still playfully lifting the back knee, rolling more towards that little toe side of the foot, the outer knee side of the foot. Inhale, walk it back to center. Lifting up from the low belly, lift into the heart. Walk the hands in even a little bit more to give yourself a boost. Heart lifts high to the sky in pigeon. And then exhale, plant the hands. We're going to walk the back knee in. So you do little knee steps, inching it in. Lift the hips. Send the hips back until we get into that front leg, IT band, outer hamstring. Stretch. Flex the front toes. Press the hands into the earth just as you would with down dog. And lift your center of gravity up and back into the hips. Letting the head go. Feel your palms here. Which places are the weight just sort of dumping into? You want to even out the distribution. So for most of us, that means rooting through the roots of the fingers where your fingers meet your palm. Press into that space and lift the hips up and back. All right, and then bending both knees to free the left leg. Take it all the way up, down dog splits, high to the sky. Bend the knee. Press again into the roots of the fingers and stretch the top leg up and back. One more breath. Just keep going in the direction that you're in. Hands press down, hips lift up and back, top leg goes up and back more. And exhale, let it go. Feet, hips width apart, down dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra. In this cobra or upward facing dog, let's do some forward head circles. So you take like a crescent moon shape, the right ear at the right shoulder, and then rolling forward. Left ear, left shoulder. One more time. Trace that whole moon shape from one side to the other. And down dog. Now evenly lift up and back from each hand to that hip. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Exhale, step left foot between the hands. We'll do a triangle, one of my all-time favorite poses. So take the right hand to the right ankle or shin, or if you want to use a block, you can use that. Left arm to the sky. Now, from within the pose, move your inner thigh of the front leg more towards the sky as you root through the big toe side of the front foot. So inner edge, foot presses down, and then spin your inner thigh open towards the sky. And just for a nice feel-good side stretch, take the top arm all the way up and over. One more deep breath. Down dog. Left leg to the sky. Exhale. We're setting up for triangle. If you have a block, you want to use a block under the left hand, that's great. I think it's more important to get the articulation of the front leg than it is to be deep in the pose right away. So you might actually get more out of using a block. Like if you're up like this, you'll have more ability to play with the inner edge of the front foot connecting, the inner thigh rolling up towards the sky. So we're prioritizing those actions over the way the pose looks for the ego. So in your triangle, take the top arm all the way overhead. Keeping that big toe mound anchored and turning the inner thigh towards the sky. One more breath. And exhale. Release gracefully, as gracefully as you can. Step back to down dog. All right, let's do some twisting variations. Take the right foot forward and then turn to the long edge of the mat, whatever way is working best in your space. With the feet nice and wide, lift up through the chest, and we'll take the right arm all the way up to the sky. You can think of this like with your torso that you're doing triangle. So you're lifting up. Now take the right arm behind your low back, so top arm threads, threads, threads all the way back. And you can take your left hand and help your right arm through a little bit more. From there, fold towards the right leg, taking the left hand to the outside edge of the right shin. And let the weight of the head go. Okay, let's do the other side. Inhale, flat back, unwind. Right hand down right underneath the heart, left arm up to the sky. Thread your left arm all the way back behind you. Inhale, pressing evenly through both feet. Now what's going to want to happen is your hips are going to want to corkscrew into the pose to the left. So you'll take them first, anchor them evenly so that the front of the pelvis is facing towards the ground, and then keep the hips as is and turn your spine, twisting your heart towards the sky. And from there, fold, taking the right hand to the outside of the left shin. Press through the lines of both legs, heels to the earth. Inhale, flat back. We're going to heel toe the feet wider and wider and wider until we do this horizontal splits pose, which is going to literally look different for everyone. So you do what you can. Now this is a really important moment because we want it to be interesting but not overwhelming, right? So if you widen your feet too far, it's going to be very overwhelming very easily. So you want to back up and find that sweet spot and that deep breath feeling. Five deep breaths. Now to come out, first we bend the knees, walk the heels in to regain our stability. Come back to a wide stance fold. Lift through the chest. Interlace the hands behind your back, and now fold with the heart right down between the legs, sending the arms up and over. exhale, release the arms. Inhale, flat back. Down dog. Alright, let's unwind a bit through these hips. Inhale, reach the left leg to the sky. And then just take the left leg on a circular journey. You're unwinding by taking it all the way across, all the way up and back. And then do the same thing right side. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Now this is going to be a little bit of a plot twist. Bring the left knee to the midline of the mat. First, turn the back toes out and reach the right arm up to the sky. So we'll just do a little side bend to open back up into the breath. On an exhale, both hands down at the front of the mat. Take your left foot, so that's the front foot, over to the right until you can sneak your right knee all the way in. So we go knee to knee. And from there, walk your hands back. And we're going to settle into Gomukasana, which looks like this. And I'll turn towards you so you can see if this is a new pose for you. So from here, you can use your hands, press the top knee more over the bottom knee. With both hands framing the knees, inhale, lift up through the chest. Now, this is a way of resetting the foundation. So we lift up, move your hips a little to the right. Right hip goes down first, and then widen from right to left through the pelvis, lifting up through the heart. Now, I don't even have to go that deep into this to feel something, but if you set the foundation right, you're kind of already in the pose. But with the hands behind you, inhale, lift up through the chest, and let's take the left hand outside the left hip, and then walk your left hand away from you as you reach your right arm up and over. Now each inhale, we want to lengthen up the front body. So you can really go from the low belly to the top of the belly, to the heart, to the base of the throat, to the fingertips stretching overhead. Inhale, unwind. Both hands behind you. Let's stay in this pose a little bit longer, lift up through the heart. And now we're going to fold over the legs in this shape. So the hands come forward. Maybe even after a couple breaths, you might be able to soften your elbows to the ground. Really folding over the legs. Releasing into the legs with your torso. Inhale, come up. We're almost there. So just lean back until your legs just sort of unwind without any effort, and I'll meet you back in hands and knees. And we'll do the other side. So we'll take down dog for a moment just to neutralize. And then exhale, our right knee lands at the midline of the mat. We'll do our prep side bend. Feeling left arm all the way up and overhead. Now curl back from the low belly into the back of the ribs. One more breath. Exhale. Hands down. All right, now right foot goes all the way across to the left, and you'll sneak your left knee all the way to the back of the right knee. We'll turn towards you again. We're going to set ourselves back into Gomukasana. So this is a stretch you probably already can feel from the first side, but it's a big outer hip stretch. You kind of get both sides. It's just such a good one. Hands down, framing the knees, lift up through the hips, and reset the foundation by widening the left hip to the left, and then from the left hip, widen back into the right hip. So you're sort of rocking and slowly lowering to get that even center of gravity through both sit bones. Inhale, fingertips behind the waist on the ground, lift through the heart. And we'll do our side bend first. So left arm to the sky. Inch your right fingertips farther and farther until you get to that perfect spot. Maybe soften the bend in your right elbow for the last breath or two, pressing the right hand into the earth. Inhale, coming up. Lean back. Let the legs just sort of unwind themselves. Take them all the way out really wide. Press the thigh bones down into the ground. Inhale, lift up through the chest. We didn't really forward fold on that side, did we? We should do that. So we gotta go back. Right knee over the left. And we're back. Inhale, lift up through the chest. Now, just as much of a opening for the hips, we want to condense and compress the digestive system to getting a wringing out, sort of detoxing, purging effect. See if you can let the weight of the head go. And just feel in the pose, see if you can find some place within you that is gripping, like the inner thighs, the outer hips, that connection from your hips to your jaw. Releasing any and all unnecessary effort. Inhale, come on up. All right, lift up, lean back. We'll end with one of my favorite forward folds. You take the legs forward, and the twist in this pose is optional, but I love this one so much. We take Gomukasana with the top leg, but the bottom leg is extended. So you use your hands in the same way. Try to take the cross above the knee. So the base of the thigh bones are crossing over each other. Top leg is basically in the same position. And now lift up through the chest. And then with some nice length from the front of the waist up to the heart, walk the hands forward. Strap may really come in handy here. So if you need a strap, hook it around the ball of the extended leg. 5 deep breaths, each one inhaling and introducing new length from the low back up to the heart. Let the weight of the head go. See if you can get the same rounding, folding feeling that we had before. Just letting your whole spine release into gravity. Inhale, come up. Right leg forward. Bouncing the knees just a little bit. Last pose. So the left knee over the right knee. Now the key is to get the cross of the knees. So you really have to work the top knee over the bottom knee using your hands manually. Inhale with the hands behind the waistline, rooted into the earth, lift through the heart. And exhale. You might not be able to go a lot here. We're going to just prioritize the stretch and maybe the newness of the experience if this pose is new for you. And we're going to prioritize, since this is our last pose, a real feeling of letting go. Letting the weight of the head go. So we can get this nice passive stretch up the back of the spine. Really letting the whole back plane of the body stretch from the right heel all the way up the leg, all the way up the back, all the way to the base of the skull. You may even feel the stretch in the scalp as it connects to the fascia and the musculature that goes up and over the scalp. Inhale, walk your hands in. Release the legs. A little bounce of the legs as we go right into Shavasana. So laying back. It's our final pose of resolving and release and acceptance. Letting your breath neutralize. So your body's breathing itself and just observing the hip area, the legs. Inhale, slowly moving your fingers and toes. And stretching your arms overhead. Take a deep breath from the openness from the hips that goes all the way down through the legs and all the way up through the fingers. Full body stretch. Bend the knees. Rolling to the right side, coming up to seated. Take a moment to find this beautiful, powerful tower that is the central line of your body, from your pelvis up through your low back, through your heart, just letting the shoulders rest easily on your back with the palms face up. Closing the eyes. Just feeling the lightness that you were able to create and access within yourself. So this all came from inside you. Let's bring the hands into prayer. If you liked this class, please like the video and subscribe. And I can't thank you enough for sharing this experience with me. Namaste.
Flying too close to the sun. Flying too close to